Are you enjoying the expansion of your own desire? And are you believing in the full manifestation of those ideas of desire? That's where it's at, isn't it? Because when you desire something and you believe it, then you're in that sweet spot where the universe can continue to surprise and delight you in the unfolding of that ever-changing, always evolving desire. But if you are disappointed that it hasn't come yet, then you're not in that sweet spot. You're in that disappointed spot. And when you are in that disappointed spot, then it slows it way down. And the disappointed spot can be a long spot. In other words, the universe can continue to disappoint you if you're in the disappointed spot. So the key is to figure out how to not be disappointed when it hasn't happened to you yet, when it hasn't come into full-blown manifestation yet, because it has come into being. There is a vibrational version of your desire that is alive and well and gathering cooperative components. And you can tap into that, even though you can't yet see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it. You can tap in to the actuality, to the reality of this vibrational version. And when you do, then disappointment cannot be upon you, because you are actually sensing this unfolding. It's like this anticipation of more to be seen and heard and so forth. You never get it done, so there will always be something more that you have sifted from life that you now want, that is in the process of becoming. And we want you to enjoy all of the phases of the unfolding of this. It's like if you were to plant some corn, for example, as you prepare the soil, that's part of the process. And as you put the corn into the ground, that's part of the process too. And you're wise enough to understand that process, because you don't stomp on the ground and demand that it comes out today and then feel all disappointed when it doesn't, because you understand that there is a process and that you know that it will germinate in that soil. You know that it will become more, and a lot will happen before you are able to see any of it. And then for quite a while, even though you can see it, you see it in its beginning, not in its fullness. And if you are a wise farmer, you understand that all is well in this unfolding process. And we want you to understand that you are the creator of your own reality, and that a lot of your seeds are in the ground. But if you're stomping on them, disappointed that you're not seeing them yet, you're slowing the whole process down. We want you to leave here today with a greater understanding of what it feels like to be in that happy, anticipatory state of being, where you are trusting the process, and even more, you are believing in your own worthiness. You are expecting good things to happen to you. Because sometimes you look out into the world in a sort of comparative fashion, and you don't know how long ago somebody planted their corn. You don't know how long they even wanted corn. You don't know how ready their soil was when they planted it. You don't know about their corn. You only know about yours. But as you compare your newly planted seed with someone else's long ago planted seed, sometimes then you come away from it feeling unworthy or incapable when you are not. You have so much more in this now potential for getting your energy straight in order to begin a faster process toward the things that you want than you realize. And sometimes what happens to you, because you've not really understood the laws of the universe, and you've not really understood your place in the universe, and you have not really understood your relationship with your inner being and with all that is and with the energy that creates worlds. So you have been responding to conditions and thinking thoughts all over the place about wanted and unwanted. You've been thinking about what you want in the absence of it, and you've been noticing what is for quite a long time in many cases. And so Because you have not deliberately and knowingly been focusing yourself within your understanding of the laws of the universe, you've been wanting and then noticing the lack, and wanting and then noticing the lack, and you haven't allowed any momentum to go. And so sometimes what you've been wanting it for a long enough time that now your habit of thought around it is that it's not happening, and your emotion around it is disappointed rather than eager and anticipating. And so we want you to understand that you can't measure from where you stand right now how long anything is going to take by how long it's been taking. Because that was then and this is now. And because then you didn't know what you are knowing now. In other words, don't compare how long something will be. One day a man sat in the hot seat and he was really sad because he had experienced a dramatic and drastic financial downturn. And in his words, "Abraham, I've lost everything. And I'm in my 60s, he explained, and I just don't see how I will ever in this lifetime recover or even come close to recovering." And we said, "You are misunderstanding a really fundamental thing. You cannot measure where you are in relationship to whatever it is that you're wanting by the manifestation that you have in your life experience right now. That is irrelevant." Didn't feel irrelevant to him because he had a lot of assets a few days ago, and now he didn't have any of those same assets. His balance sheet looked very different, and because of his balance sheet looking different, he felt very different. And we said, you got to understand that you've been amassing vibrational momentum, and that your point of attraction today, after understanding all of that, is very different than it was all those years ago when you were just beginning. The universe is responding to your vibrational projection, to your vibrational offering. And you can stand here and let this circumstance that has happened to you, you can let it be the reason that you think the thoughts you think, and therefore project the vibration that you project, and therefore accomplish the point of attraction that you can accomplish. And you're right, it won't be in this lifetime that anything begins to turn around for you. Or you can stand in the vibration that you have accumulated. You can be and experience the momentum that you've been gathering, and it can turn around fast. And he could hardly believe what he was hearing from us, because he couldn't get his thoughts around the idea that something that had taken him so much of his life to accomplish could now be accomplished in a very short period of time, because it isn't about time, it's about alignment. It's not about anything other than what you are doing with your vibrational alignment. It is simply what you are doing with your beliefs in relationship to your desires. When you desire something that you believe, there's no time between the vibrational accomplishment of it. But when you want something and you doubt it, there's as much time as you continue to doubt it. Sometimes people will say, well, how long will it take me to get from where I am to where I want to be? And we say, as long as it takes you to stop doubting and start believing. And they say, well, how long will that take? As long as it takes you to stop doubting and start believing. Well, how long does that take? Well, it takes as long as it takes for you to stop doubting and start believing. Well, how long does that take? And we say it's really a variable. But it has to do with how conditioned you are at focusing on what is, and how willing you are to focus upon the vibrational what is. As humans, most of you, we love you so much, but you give most of your attention to things that are occurring. In other words, you are reacting mostly to the circumstances around you. So most of your vibration is in reaction to what is. So if you're looking at something that pleases you, your reaction is one that is beneficial to you. But if you're looking at something that doesn't please you, then your vibrational reaction is something that is not beneficial to you. And you got to cut that out. You've got to stop just looking around by default, and then reacting to what you see and expecting any consistency in your vibration. You have to figure out how to be consistent in your vibration. You have to decide, and you have to practice, and you have to become good at, a master at, offering a vibration that feels good even when the condition hasn't changed. You have to stop letting your vibration be about what is. You have to begin to find a way to let your emotions travel down the path of how you want to feel. So how do you do that? How do you do that after you've been reacting to life so long? Your kids are so sweet this morning, and you just love them so much. So easy to love them. They were sleeping long. The sweet little faces when they're asleep. And then they wake up. And they start fighting with each other right away. And you can hear the drama and the trauma all around the house. And you put your head down on your desk and you think, kill me now. And now you feel different than you did about them when they were asleep. And that's not cool. Because you got to figure out how to be consistent without asking the conditions around you to change. Because you can't control the conditions around you. You know that if you've got kids. You cannot control the conditions around you. And the harder you try to control the conditions, the more you give up your life for something that never gets you anywhere. In other words, there's a way easier way to go about it. You can find a way to feel the way you want to feel regardless of the conditions. And that's what unconditional love is. That's what unconditional alignment is. That's what unconditional clarity is. That's what living in the sweet spot is. That's what practicing the art of allowing is. That's what being in the sweet spot and watching what feels to others like the magic of the universe swarming around you and providing for you this perfect ride. We're just saying that while good can always come from wherever you are, you do not have to have unpleasant contrast on your way to the things that you want. Because sometimes people panic and say, oh, I need a lot more struggle and contrast in order to get the things that I want. And we say, not necessary, not necessary. We would encourage a sort of satisfaction with what is. Because there are a lot of philosophies that are working for a lot of people. And as long as you feel that way, that's going to be amplified in your vibration. And harmony doesn't need to be that way. There's a lot of harmony along the way in a lot of religions on your way to what you're about here. In other words, all religions, or nearly all that you are significantly knowing about, began from someone coming into alignment and being in the receptive mode and having further clarification. And while a lot of that clarity has been lost or diffused as the one receiving the clarity is no longer around and others are filling in with their receptive mode that may or may not be where it originally was. But all of them have at their basis a platform that has led to where we all are now. And so there's just no reason to push against anything. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would have the attitude of the expansion of your connection, the expansion of your personal connection. Because if any religion is effective or successful to an individual, and by success we mean bringing joy, that's the only success that really exists, satisfaction and joy. If any religion is bringing that success to anyone, it's bringing them into personal alignment with this source energy. And so don't assume that just because people are approaching life differently than you now are, that they are not finding some connection to source energy through whatever it is they are focused upon, because source is not defining the specifics through which your connection comes. This alignment is something that your inner being is always offering and that you are finding when you're distracted from any resistant thought that's keeping you from it, you see. And so the thing that you feel about religion, and a lot of people do, is that there is a lot of pushing against within religion, and therefore there is a lot of unnecessary squelching of alignment. But that's not always the case either, you see. So don't assume that someone is pinched off from their well-being. They may not be. And don't worry about whether they are or not. You just pay attention to whether you are or not. And in your open alignment, people will want to know. You said, I want to be an advertisement for this. And in your joy, you are that. In your living life happily ever after, you are that. In your easy way of life, you are that. In your clarity, you are that. In your personal sense of worthiness and well-being, you are that. In your love and upliftment of others, you are that, you see. So don't try to define it. Just be happy.